G'day there guys, Connor here again from Marky Industries. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. As always, we're reading some stories from Reddit today. Hit like and subscribe and all that jazz, and we'll get straight into it. Alrighty guys, one relationship advice. This one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, "My boyfriend cheated on me while drunk at a bachelor party and still hasn't admitted to it. Should I just end things with him?" My, female 25, boyfriend, 28, have been dating for about 3 years, and we currently live together. He has a brother, 31, who is getting married very soon. He is his brother's best man, and of course was invited to his bachelor party. It's okay since I get along well with his brother, and I'm invited to the bride's bachelorette party that will be later this week. Everything was okay, but at like 2 a.m. my phone started ringing and got a lot of messages. When I went to see what it was, I saw that one of the guys at the party took my boyfriend's phone and was sending me images and videos in real time of him having sex with a naked woman. He looked half dead and fainted while the woman was moving so aggressively on top of him, and the other guys were cheering, throwing alcohol and doing other crazy things. The guy who took the phone was screaming, "Your boy is having so much fun right now." I tried to see what was going on, and one of the first videos showed him receiving a lap dance from this girl, while visibly drunk, but very much awake. He kept sending me stuff, but I was so upset that I blocked my boyfriend's number so they couldn't send me anything else. I tried calling his brother, but didn't pick up. Then I tried calling his dad, who wasn't at the party, but I thought could help, but didn't pick up either. I just cried for the rest of the night until I fell asleep again. Then his friends brought him back home at around 11 a.m. They had to help him walk, and after I opened the door, they left him at the sofa and left. He just slept on the sofa and said nothing, and woke up at 4 p.m. with a hangover and not remembering when he came back home. His phone was missing, and he had no idea who could have it. We had barely spoken, and I haven't mentioned the infidelity yet because I'm expecting him to be the first one to bring that up. But it's been 2 days, and there's just silence, and he looked kinda scared. Maybe he knows his friends told me and showed me everything, and knows our relationship is over. I don't know if it is really over, but this is his fault, and I don't want to be the first one to say the obvious. I need some help on how to move forward. I don't know if I should tell the bride what happened at the party. Geez, I mean, judging by his state, there's a good chance he doesn't remember it at all. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't want it in the moment, he just might not remember. Let's go to some comments. Does that honestly sound consensual to you? Opie says, "What do you mean? He was having sex with her, dick hard and deep inside her. He's very vocal about what he wants or not to do. I think he did it because he wanted it and then got too drunk, otherwise would have stopped it earlier." Another comment says, "Not to digress, but I think a background of how well you know his circle would be very useful. By the time you're making the big step, you should know about his crazy friends, or lack thereof, and the dynamics therein, and he should know yours too. I'm not blaming you nor giving him, his brother or his friends a pass for what happened, but it seems you're oblivious to how wild these guys can be when they get together." The guy who took the phone was screaming, "Your boy is having so much fun right now." I think it's safe to conclude that the friends, or at least the person sending the videos, was told or assumed that you permitted any shenanigans that may happen at that bachelor party. We can argue about how insane it was for them to believe whoever told them that, but we should acknowledge that unless sending you the videos was to jeopardize your relationship, the person sending the videos didn't see any harm in sending the videos. Again, that's a crazy thing for anyone to think, so it's back to how well do you know his circle. Sounds like a bunch of airheads at least. Even if you permitted the lewdness for one night, why send you footage of that? All that aside, I strongly suggest you first speak to his friend that sent you the messages before you confront your boyfriend. In your discussion with this person, inquire about who it was that okayed the naked woman, the intercourse, and what was said about your approval, or if they or your boyfriend cared. I caution you to not speak in the context of anger, but inquiry. You have every right to flip out, but that'll only have his friend hold back important information as to how and why all this happened. Otherwise, the company we keep is a reflection and manifestation of who we are. Unless under deception, nobody is around people that they shouldn't be with. This situation will reveal to you about who you're about to spend the rest of your life with, if you smartly inquire. Opie replies, "I know him and his brother are still close with his college friends, and they were wild and funny in college, but then most of them settled down." Yeah, it's all well and good if you settle down, but guys like that who are wild in college and whatnot tend to relapse on, occasions like this. Okay, let's move to an update. Hello Reddit. I had a boyfriend until some days ago. I've told this story like too many times in real life already, and I'm tired, so I'm going to be quick. He went to his brother's bachelor party. I thought it was going to be okay since his family and friends were there, until around 2 AM, where I started getting messages on my phone. Someone took his phone and was sending me videos and photos of him having sex with a woman. The guy who took his phone even said, "Look how much fun your boy is having." Then they brought him home the next morning and he slept till the afternoon, not remembering anything. After 2 days of silence, I confronted him about what happened. He said that he didn't really know. I showed him the videos I was sent from his phone by someone else. He looked horrified and said was almost basically unconscious. The problem is that he's clearly hard, and I have a hard time believing it could be so hard while drunk, so I told him he wasn't telling me the full story. He said that they were drinking. They brought that girl to make the party funnier for the guys, and next thing he remembers is waking him up on the sofa. When he gets drunk, his body loses strength and then falls asleep, so him being hard is what makes me not believe him. We had an argument. He was crying and saying he wouldn't cheat on me on purpose, but his story had so many holes I couldn't take it. He begged me to believe him, but I had way too many videos of him having sex with a random woman to even look at him in the eye, so I left and went to my sister's place. I then phoned the bride to tell her what happened at the party. Next thing is so many of the guys at the party had a lot of explaining to do, and the wedding ended up with half of the initial guest list attending. My ex-brother-in-law has berated me for ruining his wedding, and I've been told that my ex is way too depressed because of what happened, and he blames himself. I've been told that I've destroyed him, but I can't stop thinking about the videos and imagining the other woman jumping on him while the guys cheered. So I wonder if I'm the a-hole in this whole situation. I just feel terrible for everything. Edit, about what everyone is saying happened to my ex. I'll address that on a post on my profile. I think it's too hard to talk it right here. Also, the wedding already happened, ended up with way less guests than they were expecting because many people said they wouldn't go after hearing what happened at the party. The bride wanted to postpone it, but they couldn't get refunds on anything, so they did the wedding more or less as they planned. The bride's bachelorette party also happened. I was invited but didn't go. Of course I didn't go to the wedding. I'm on good terms with the bride, but her new husband says I've ruined everything. One comment asks, why would a third party record that? Why would a third party send that to his partner? How would they know which number was his partner's? How did they access his phone? Opie says, there are things that I still don't know, but he was a brother's friend that I didn't know and he was helped by others. My ex never had a password or PIN or any lock on his phone. My number was always pinned on top. I still don't know who the idea was from. Am I completely wrong in thinking that Opie's ex may have got assaulted and Opie is just completely blindsiding him about it? Just because someone is hard doesn't mean it's purely consensual. No way. That's a dangerous misconception that people can have when, talking about assault of men. Let's go to another update. Okay, I don't know where I could post this, so I'm doing it on my profile. So many people on my previous post have repeated over and over that my ex was assaulted, but I still don't understand it. Yes, he looked like he was unconscious at the party and in the videos, but seriously, is the being hard part that keeps me wondering. Some has said Viagra might do it, but combined with alcohol? When alcohol is in, it dilutes everything in the blood and makes every med not be effective. And I've been essayed in the past. I know what it feels like and how it messes with your head. But I was fully overpowered, and the only thing I was able to do was screaming, and that didn't help. I know technically men can be assaulted if they're penetrated, but I have a hard time understanding how the one who penetrates is being assaulted, because that's the most important part about assault. Also, my ex hasn't mentioned being assaulted once. He said that he wouldn't cheat on purpose, so he admitted that it was cheating even if he doesn't remember it. I'm no expert, but I think I know more about getting assaulted than most people commenting. I don't wish it on anyone, but I just still don't see how that's SA. I came to Reddit to clear my mind, vent, and ask if I did the right thing, because the end of my relationship has been so hard on me, and I still need to deal with picking some of my stuff at the place we shared together. I've been crying a lot and feel sorry for him. I'm sorry if I offended someone. Anyway, I hope some of you can understand my situation. I've had some few nice words and some support on my DMs. Thanks. Let's read some final comments. Oh my god, it's so freaking clear he was assaulted and she just refuses to freaking believe it. That is assault. This poor man, and they distributed evidence of his assault. That poor guy gets drunk, is assaulted, and then his girlfriend dumps him for it. And his girlfriend is an SA survivor and still doesn't have any sympathy for him. Jesus effing Christ, what a crap show. Opie doesn't understand anatomy or medicine half as well as Opie thinks they do. Someone from that party got the result they wanted. It sure as hell wasn't the boyfriend or the OP though. By OP's logic, as long as a woman gets wet, they consented. I feel for Opie's ex. She doesn't have to stay in the relationship, but for her to focus on the one who penetrates as being assaulted, as that is the most important part about assault. No, honey, it's consent. I wish Bride questioned who she's marrying. X's brother seemed way too comfortable with allowing the environment that made it possible for X to be assaulted. I'm just going to do something different. I'm reading the current Best of Reddit update comments and I'm relieved that there are a lot of sympathies for Opie's ex. Opie did right to break up with him, but not in the way she did it. Awful. Yeah, I tend to agree with those final comments there. What about you guys? Let me know your thoughts about this one down below. Either way, let's move on to another story. Alrighty, we're over on Am I the A-hole? This one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, Am I the A-hole for refusing to share my recipe? At the risk of sounding trite, my upbringing was not a good one. I, 58 male, am the youngest of a large dysfunctional family, and while I am the least cordial, I would prefer to have as little contact with my surviving siblings as possible. The one sister, Beth, I did get along with, has since passed on. I'm not what you would consider an expert baker, but I enjoy it. My late sister and I used to get together for Christmas at her place. One of my contributions to the dinner was a cheesecake I made from a recipe I found on the internet. The first time I tried it, I thought it was decent, but also felt I could improve it. And over the years, I've experimented with the recipe, adding new ingredients, changing the amounts of other ingredients. I eventually perfected the recipe, and I think I've done sufficient modifications to make it officially my cheesecake recipe. Since my sister's passing, I still make it and give it away to friends in Beth's memory. I've gotten so many compliments on it, even some saying it's the best cheesecake they've ever tasted. One person I made it for paid me very generously to make another one. The problem now arises when another one of my sisters, Jean, came down for a visit. I wasn't happy about this, but I humoured her. For those who want to know why I don't care to see her, she's very religious and condemns gay people, insisting that anyone who's gay chose to be gay. I also shared with her a story about some cruel treatment I used to receive from yet another one of our sisters, Anne, and Jean flat out said she didn't believe that Anne would ever be so cruel. So essentially, Jean has called me a liar twice. She asked me to make the cheesecake I made for Beth and me, so I did. She loved it and asked for the recipe. I gave her the website I got the recipe from, not my version. However, upon making it herself when she returned home, she quickly picked up on the fact that it wasn't the version I made for her, so I conceded that I may have changed one or two things, and suggested she experiment with it and make it her own, but she wanted to know the exact recipe I used. I refused, saying that it was my recipe and I'm not giving it out. Although I did give it to my best friend's teenage daughter Alison, who's starting her own baking business. Since my best friend is chosen family, I decided I could share it with his daughter, but told her it was a family recipe now, and to share it only with her children when she has them. She said she understood. But we're family, my sister protested. Oh, you are so not my family, I thought. She's persisted in badgering me for it, and even gotten her own kids involved. Truthfully, I have nothing against her kids, or any of my other siblings' kids. It's just my siblings themselves that I would prefer to have nothing to do with. Even two of our other siblings have joined in demanding my recipe. This isn't persuading me, it's only making me angry. Am I the a-hole for refusing to share my recipe? Opie adds a comment. Why did I make this super special cake for her when she visited? I should have included it in my original post. Beth was the only sibling who accepted me as a gay man, so of course she'd be the first of my siblings to die. Gee, thanks God. I like to call it Beth's cheesecake since I spent all that time perfecting it, and I knew that Beth would want me to make it for Jean. I freely admit, Beth is a much better person than I am. As I said in my original post, I'm not really all that great a baker. I can make good stuff, but I think it's more due to quality ingredients I choose. Like I can make great chocolate chip cookies, but that's because I use the Ghirardelli chocolate chips. Quality ingredients really does make a difference, and I also looked at the right mixture of dark brown sugar, light brown sugar, and white sugar to get the right texture. Apart from that, I just follow the recipe on the bag. You can't really go wrong with that. I'm not a skilled baker at all. I do all right, but it's more a matter of choosing quality ingredients. Yeah, recipes are pretty well known for being sacred things, and this has significant sentimental value to OP. I don't blame him for, holding it close to his chest. One comment says, "We're family is a convenient trope people pull out of their behinds when they already know they don't treat family members with consideration, kindness, or respect. I'll be family when you treat me like your family. This is fixable, Gene, but that means you'll have to change into someone better. Let me know when the new and improved you shows up. A recipe is the least of what I'd give someone who treats me with consideration, kindness, and respect." Not the a-hole, just be honest and firm with her. She's on some total bunk. Now for an update. First, thank you everyone for all the thoughtful replies. I've upvoted all of you, even those who disagreed with me. I was very touched by some of your comments and got rather emotional, and I'm not even sure why. And some of you were outright hilarious. But you also gave me something important to think about. Namely, why am I even bothering to walk on eggshells trying to placate people who have rejected me? I guess I was so used to doing it for the sake of our mother. Our father died when I was 18, but Mum died in 2015, and Beth died about a year and a half later, so who am I keeping up this facade for? Because I happen to live in Florida and they live up north, they refer to my home, which I purchased without any help from anyone, as the vacation home, which is why Jean felt free to invite herself to my house. So I don't need to keep the peace for anyone, especially for people who are so openly contemptuous of me, and have me adopting this servile role to stay in the family's good graces. Well, screw their good graces. I finally realised that I don't give a crap if they like me or not. So I followed the suggestions a few of you have made and blocked them, and it actually feels quite nice to have done it. Opie shares the website for the recipe. I'm not going to post links, but you guys can look up the story if you're interested. Opie comments, "Okay, that I will do. It's public domain, and if people are curious, this is the recipe I modified. And I'll also point out, it's not a bad recipe. In fact, it's really good. I did not give Jean a crappy cheesecake recipe. I doubt she took one bite, devolved into vomitous retching, called poison control, threw it away, then called her lawyer to sue me for attempted murder. She had a good cheesecake if she did it right, and it's not that hard. But I've probably made at least 20 of these cakes over the years since my first attempt. I learned new things, substitute ingredients, and it's just now my recipe. Just to give you some idea of the direction I moved in, although this is by no means a comprehensive list of every modification I made, I felt the white chocolate taste was too subtle, so I adjusted something. I also felt that there were things I could add and replace to make it smoother and richer. As for the topping, it wasn't quite tart enough for my taste, so I made some adjustments in that too. Again, that is not everything I did to this recipe. However, this covers the major changes and why I chose to make them. Also, keep in mind, I started doing this in my late 40s, and basically everyone I gave it to was around Beth's age, who died from breast cancer 10 days after her 60th birthday. When you get up in years, as we have, your taste sensitivity goes down. What might be wonderful for me might be slightly overpowering for you. So that is my base recipe, and that's all the information I want to share about how I changed it. Keep in mind, I did give the recipe to Alison, who is an aspiring professional baker and businesswoman. She may not even use my recipe, or she might even find a way to improve upon the recipe even more than I did. But because I placed it in an aspiring professional's hands, I don't feel it's right to give it here, especially since I told her that it's a family recipe. I hope you all understand. So, get out your springform pans and get creative. Wow, I weirdly feel like baking all of a sudden. I don't know about you guys. I've never felt this before. Anyway guys, that's the end of that story. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Either way, we're going to quickly move on again. Okie dokie, this next one was written by user DewCod39, and it's titled, "Would I be the a-hole if I told my best friend's ex-husband that she's not planning on remarrying him when he leaves his current wife?" I'll leave all ages, names and locations anonymous because we'll read below. My best friend and her ex-husband were couple goals. At least I know that my best friend loved him so much. When she found out that he cheated on her with a co-worker, she was in so much pain that she miscarried. She left him, of course. After a short while, we heard that he started dating that colleague. It gave her more pain, and it didn't help that the woman was gloating about it on social media. Anyway, my friend started speaking to her ex again and told him that she missed him, etc. He left the co-worker, but then my best friend said that she couldn't forgive him anyway, and broke it off again. Again, he started to date the co-worker again. This time, the co-worker demanded that they got married because of what he did when he left her. This time, my friend was very cool about it. She wasn't in pain, and she just said, "Oh well, they got married last August." Today, I know why she's been too cool about it. She's been talking to him again, and before resuming any relationship with him, she wants him to get divorced. Then she told me that once he's divorced, she'll tell him that she didn't want him anymore. I was shocked. I told her so, but she was very indifferent, saying that she didn't lead him on, didn't sleep with him, and didn't promise him anything, just that she wouldn't want to have anything to do with him if he was married. I told her that this was going too far, but she got upset and told me that I would be the a-hole if I warned any of them. Am I the a-hole? Let's go straight to the comments. Frankly, the most important thing for you here is helping your friend move on. Whether she is an a-hole or not doesn't matter. She shouldn't spend her time plotting revenge because it's not healthy for her. Yes, major a-hole. These people have inflicted so much pain and trauma on her. Not everyone is the high road type. Let her have her revenge and stop judging her for how she goes scorched earth. You would be the a-hole. The ex and his girlfriend or wife will probably not believe you because you're the ex's best friend, and your best friend will not forgive you for betraying her confidence. Stay out of it and tell your friend that you don't want to hear any more about her plans. Yeah, I agree. It's probably best to go low profile on this and not get involved. Onto an update. So here's my update on what happened to my best friend and her ex-husband. I'll try to link the original post again. I ended up not warning the ex-husband like you guys advised me not to. Again, I will not divulge any information about locations or names. Shortly after my post, my best friend asked her ex-husband to make his divorce announcement public, to say how he regretted it and how he still loved her and wanted things to work out between them. I guess she wanted everything to be on social media for everyone to see. He was more than willing to do it. Afterwards, he thought everything was going to be fine between them because he did everything she told him to. He showered her with flowers sent to her place every morning, and expensive gifts that my best friend just kept in her hall, unopened. She told him that she didn't trust him yet because as long as the divorce wasn't finalized, he could always take advantage of her and go back to his co-worker. The divorce was finalized last week, and of course the first thing her ex did was call her to tell her the news. After that, she ghosted him, and she hasn't answered his calls since. I met her yesterday, and she was so elated. I never thought that vindictiveness and revenge would make someone this happy. She said that this was the first time she felt happy since she found out about the affair. I felt very sad inside, and I don't know why. I love my friend, and I don't want her to change, but I don't recognize her very much. I asked her if this was it, if she really felt happy, and she said that she did. She was very ready to move on. I asked her what if he and the colleague ended up back together. She said that she would not care at all, that she hoped that they would get back together now with what happened always being between them, but that she wouldn't begrudge them moving on. Separately or together, she didn't care anymore. She sent back all the unopened gifts. I don't know what to feel but terrible sadness. These two loved each other more than anything and were so happy together at one point in their lives, and now... And my friend, she was the kindest person I know, and now... Oh well, this is my update. One comment says, "Her baby died because of what her ex did. What did you expect?" Opie replies, "It was the worst period of her life. Trigger, miscarriage. I thought she was going to die. I was with her that day, and it took 23 hours to birth her dead baby because it was a late miscarriage, and she needed to give natural birth. I've never seen something like that before. It totally broke her, and she's still not the same. It was a daughter. I wonder if she still thinks about it, even though she vehemently denies it and says it was for the better. She doesn't talk about children anymore like she used to. She never wants to hold our friends' babies or her sister's daughters. She never speaks about having her own like she used to. She probably still thinks about it no matter what she pretends, because even I still dream about it every so often." That isn't something you just get over. He wasn't there for her. He abandoned and betrayed her when she needed him the most. I hope she finds therapy, if she hasn't already, to try to heal. I know she feels elated by what she did, but that pain is still there and deeply rooted. Believe me, you can stop wondering. She carries the pain of his betrayal and the loss of her child with her every day. He broke her in a way that's very hard to repair. My heart breaks for her. Have you heard anything in regard to her ex and his reaction to what happened? Opie replies, he didn't know about the miscarriage until it was over. She would never have wanted him in the hospital anyway, and I'm glad he wasn't because she was in a lot of pain and distress. Now he is literally broken. His friends told me that he spent the night in his car beside her apartment because he thought he would talk to her, but she never came home because she's staying with her sister. Then he called me to ask me where she was. He was in a state, but I can't pretend that I felt bad for him, to be honest. I just told him that I didn't know where she was. Another comment says, I feel like burying the lead is putting it too mildly. Dude cheated on his pregnant wife, caused her not only to lose the child, but then have to deal with a divorce after that loss. Then he married the side chick. I kind of feel like this is karma. Or do I spend too much time on this subreddit? Oh my, I won't say too much, but I have a friend who was getting a divorce after over 20 years together, and they were couple goals until he started abusing his meds and listening to his craphead friends. My friend put up with so much before he finally filed, and he blamed her entirely, but she literally did everything for him. All he had to do was go to work. She handled everything else. He was so mean the last time I visited. He was just a mean person all along, I guess. That's the only thing we can work out. It devastated us all. We all mourned with her. This shook me in particular. I'm obviously on her side, but flabbergasted by his quick turnaround after so long together, and her realizing after the fact and telling me signs she tried to ignore, and oh my effing god. I hope this woman is free, and I hope my friend is free soon too. Screw staying with someone who treats a person like they're disposable. Amen to that. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts down below. Anyway, that's all we got for that story, and we'll move on again. Okay, for something a bit different, we're on apartment living. This one was written by user Savings Succotash, and it's titled, Never have a sexual relationship with somebody in your building. It ain't worth it. So this woman in my building kept making idle convo with me. Eventually she asked for us to exchange numbers, and I did so. We started texting, and one thing led to another. We ended up having sex a few times. Now, I told her from the beginning I'm focused on improving my life right now. I don't want a girlfriend, but hey, if you just want to have fun, we can have fun. So the more we had sex, the more she kept randomly showing up at my door all hours, asking to hang out, and it just began to be what I said I wasn't looking for, so I cut her off. Fast forward, my car windows have been busted out twice. She's emptied a whole bag of trash in front of my apartment door and took my clothes out the washer mid-wash and dumped them on the floor. I'm too embarrassed to tell leasing office about the situation, and I don't want to involve the police. Basically, I guess I'm gonna have to move out, and it sucks because I love my apartment. I even tried talking to her and being very kind about it, but her response is go back to how it used to be, or she'll keep doing stuff. Any advice? Also, my building has entry locks and a parking garage with limited access, and that's what makes me so mad, is that no other woman could easily be making my life this hellish if she didn't live in the building. Wow, seems a bit extreme for just calling off a casual, friends with benefits kind of thing. Let's go to some comments. Explain this situation to your leasing office, file a police report for your car windows, maybe get a restraining order. Nothing to be embarrassed about. You should be focused on improving your life and shouldn't have to move out of the apartment you love. Opie replies, yeah, I've been saving the text just in case I do decide to go to the leasing office, but damn, I just don't like everyone knowing my business. But this situation has become a nightmare, shaking my head. We deal with stuff like this all the time in the office and way more intense than that. Just tell them you had a casual relationship with another resident, tried cutting it off, and now you feel like she's harassing you. They'll follow up with her and will post a legal notice if they have proof, something that can hold up in court. She is harassing you. Just another day in property management. Opie says, yeah, the leasing office lady is pretty chill, so I'm sure she'll understand and help. It's just like I enjoy being a ghost tenant. Pay my rent online, maintenance request online, like leasing never hears from me, and for me to have to go to talk to them about this pees me off, but it's my fault for even messing with her to begin with. This happened to me. It's really scary dealing with an unhinged person. Don't give her any attention. Don't try to reason or apologize. She feels powerful and is feeding off your fear and discomfort. Keep a log and take photos. Go to the leasing office with evidence. Read up on personality disorders so you can spot one a mile away. Opie says, "You're totally right. She's feeding off my fear and discomfort. Like I gotta sit in the laundry room for 2 hours to make sure my clothes aren't damaged." Shaking my head. On to an update. So yesterday, I posted about a problem I was having with a woman in my apartment building who had started making my life hell after we had casual sex a few times, and I decided to cut her off. Well, this morning I took off work, went to the leasing office, and explained the situation to the leasing lady. I explained the situation and showed her all the texts as evidence and pics I had. She was more mad about it than I was, and basically said I should have came to her the first time she did anything. I was so glad that she understood the situation. She said she's going to check the parking garage cameras on the dates my car windows got busted out and see if they got her on film clearly. She also said she's going to send old girl an email saying that doing stuff like this is grounds for eviction. She said she can't evict her yet until they have full proof it was her, but she sounded dedicated to getting that proof. Thanks everyone for the advice. Hopefully this gets resolved and I don't have to move. One comment says, "Good for the leasing office lady. I'm glad she's helping you out and you won't have to buy your own cameras for evidence. The crazy and controlling girl probably won't even expect it, honestly, since her emotions are so far ahead of her, lol." Opie says, "Yeah, honestly, the leasing lady turning up how she did makes me want to keep my apartment even more. Like she was really mad about the situation. She even said email her any time of the day if anything else happens." Make sure you don't have her blocked on anything, so if she sends you some more unhinged crap, then you have it on record. You can mute her notifications, so whatever she sends you doesn't need to impact you. Also, please keep us updated over the next few weeks and days. I have a feeling this isn't the end of things, because that behaviour is legit insane. Opie replies, "Will do, thanks. I blocked her number because she would keep calling me 24/7 back to back, especially when I realised there was no convo that could be had in which she would agree to stop. I'm gonna try to mute her calls." Yeah, fingers crossed for that evidence. Let's go to another update. So this morning the leasing lady calls me and tells me to come to the office. I get there and she has 4K crystal clear footage of old girl breaking my windows out on 2 different occasions. Old girl didn't cover her face or nothing, plus one time she broke them out, she went to her car to get something before going back into the building. Not only did she have the car footage, but she had elevator footage of old girl taking a full bag of trash to my floor, then getting back on the elevator with an empty bag. So, leasing lady asks if I wanted to call the cops. I said nah, because honestly I just try to deal with the police at least as possible. I just told her that she can handle the situation however she wants. I just need old girl to leave me alone, or else I'm gonna have to move, unfortunately. She said, "Okay, gotcha, I'm gonna take care of it." Couple hours later, leasing lady calls me and says the cops just came and picked old girl up. I'm like, what? She said yeah, she called the cops and told them she had a tenant who's been breaking in cars at night. She said that since it happened on apartment property, the leasing agency can file charges without me. She said she didn't mention me or anything. She also said old girl is getting evicted. On top of that, gave me a $300 rent credit for the next month to help cover some of my window repairs, because in her exact words, that lunatic should have never been living here in the first place. Best leasing lady ever. One comment says, "Don't crap where you eat." Damn, got laid and got paid, and the property kicked her out for you. Oh man, crazy bangers are only cool when they don't know where you live, ha ha. Okay guys, and that's the end of that story. Yeah, great ending for OP there. The 300 rent credit, I didn't see that coming. Yeah, that leasing lady's an absolute champion. Anyway, give me your thoughts again and we'll move on. Okay, back over on Am I the A-hole? This one was written by user No Necessary, and it's titled, "Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend to leave me the hell alone?" My girlfriend, 24, and I, 25, have been dating for 2 years, a week prior to this post. She and I spend a lot of time together and know each other very well. I have had some relationship issues in the past, so I'm very forward and communicative because of situations I've been in relationships in the past. I'm irrationally afraid of clowns. I have to emphasize the irrational part. My dad used to watch scary movies when I was a kid, and It was one of his favorites. This movie has had such an impact on my life that I've been to the hospital for panic attacks because of incidents with clowns in which my girlfriend was there for. We went to a haunted house, and long story short, I was very affected by the clown portion. Ultimately, I say this to say she knows my fear and the effect it has on me. We had a pretty big argument over her not working the past month. She brought up feeling of stagnation and depression, and I attributed it to her unemployment, as in my experience, while working sucks, being productive is a very big driver in motivation and overall mental health. I'm a very blunt and forward person and struggle a bit with empathy, so looking back on it, I was a bit rude. She took this as me saying she was lazy and nonchalant about her career. Ultimately, I'm not concerned about that. While I do want her to be successful, I more want her to be happy. I assume she felt attacked, and instead of communicating this to me and us working it out, she internalized it and has taken to retaliation. After a long night of socializing with our friends, we went back to my apartment. She turned on a movie and we sat together watching it for a while. I drifted asleep and was soon awoken by her in a full clown Halloween costume. This was one of the most terrifying and frightening experiences I may have ever had. Falling asleep with someone I'm completely vulnerable with and have a lot of trust for, to be awoken by my true worst fear, sent me to a full-fledged panic attack. I couldn't breathe, in my own home nonetheless, and was paralyzed by fear. She not only targeted my weakness, but continued tormenting me while I hyperventilated, and I was soon in tears, curled up on the floor, struggling to breathe. After what felt like years, truthfully 5 minutes, she took off the costume trying to comfort me and bringing me an inhaler, but started saying that was how I made her feel after speaking about her not having a job. I really love her. We felt like such a perfect match, but to attack me so personally and without communication of the underlying issue prior, I have truly lost all trust for her. I told her to leave me the F alone and get out of my house. Obviously this went over poorly, but I've never felt so betrayed by someone I loved before. She hasn't spoken to me for the 2 weeks since, despite my efforts, and I'm truly exhausted and trying. Am I the a-hole? Do I deserve this, or should I move on? Nah, she knew your fear and she exploited it 100%, way past what was acceptable. Let's go to some comments. Not the a-hole. Time to get rid of the girlfriend and move on. You may have been blunt in how you expressed yourself, but she was cruel. Not the a-hole. So your girlfriend is an abusive a-hole and she knowingly triggered your panic attack. Break up. Quote, she hasn't spoken to me for the 2 weeks since, despite my efforts, and I'm truly exhausted and trying. Stop trying. You're better off without that abusive a-hole in your life. Not the a-hole. As a woman, mum and grandma, I'm telling you to never see this person again. To use your greatest fear against you is evil. There's no coming back from that. You deserve so much better. Please do everything you can to heal, treat yourself, care for yourself, because this was awful. Yeah, agreed. Now for an update, 6 days later. Quick update, this was definitely premeditated. I spoke with one of her friends who dates a good buddy of mine, and she spilled a lot of tea on the situation. Of course, underlying issues I contributed to led to this, but it was intended as a prank. I did have the chance to speak with her, but it certainly didn't end up the way I envisioned it. She planned this out, bought a cheap costume, and intended to prank me as, and I quote, a lesson. Her lesson brought up a lot of childhood trauma for me, and I don't have much of a support system for those things. I broke up with her once I heard her side, and she was very frustrated. She cursed at me and swore no one would love such a crappy person. The irony of the situation only but made me laugh, and I realized maybe she could find a job in her newly found free time. In the past few days, I've decided to seek counseling and therapy for a lot of the trust issues, and ultimately I hope to work on my fear. Thank you all for your responses. Yeah, good riddance, I say. Let's read some final comments. This was definitely premeditated. Don't all normal people keep clown costumes lying around their boyfriend's place in case they find a use for it? Of course it was premeditated. The irony of her calling him crappy while literally using his trauma as a weapon is astronomical. Hey, what you said the other day really hurt me and I'm having trouble putting it behind me. Nah, I'm gonna torture them. How the frick could you do that to someone you love? I have a friend who's terrified of spiders, and we were staying in a hotel one time when an enormous one started walking on the wall above her head while she was asleep. I didn't wake her up and point it out to her. I killed the effer by slamming a shoebox on it. It was that big, because I knew she'd have a massive panic attack if she saw it. That woman's downright evil. Say it with me, folks. It's only a prank if it's from the prank region of everyone involved is laughing and nobody was hurt. Otherwise, it's just sparkling bullying and abuse. Yeah, well, that's certainly one way of putting it. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts down below. Anyway, that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.